Welcome to Hornbill TV's Primetime with Ngullie, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you again. We didn't have this program for about 2 days or so because I was on leave, but so far we haven't had that really big news to explore. But today we have got some special news bits that we will explore together. And this, I would like to remind all of you again that this is not a normal news bulletin that we are having. This is more of an exploration of the news that happens in a day, and based on which we go deeper into the story, so that we wouldn't just narrate to you the stories but also see the different aspects of the stories that we put out before you. So let's check out the headlines for today. A special POCSO court has sentence a person to about 50 years for what we are being told as sexual assault of his niece. This is big, ladies and gentlemen. Nagaland is set to hold the G20 Business Summit in Kohima on April 5th. 80 to 100 delegates from various member countries are expected to participate in the summit. This is a very big news for us, ladies and gentlemen. We have been hearing a lot about the international forum, the G20. They are taking their agenda across the world, and this time under the presidency of India, the G20 summit will be coming to the Northeast. And for the first time in the history of the G20 platform, Nagaland will be the home for it. Right now we are still getting only very sketchy details of it. We are yet to get any of the schedule yet in regard to the program, but it is confirmed that Nagaland will be home to the G20 summit, and the month will be April. So as and when the details coming, of course Hornbill TV will be there for you. Nagaland is set to host the G20 Business Summit in the capital town Kohima. Updates that we received here on Tuesday said that the summit will be on April 5th. That is an approximate date that we have received today. Approximately about 80 to 100 delegates from various member countries are expected to participate in the summit. The government administration of Nagaland conducted a meeting on Tuesday. Our Chief Secretary J. Alam said that Nagaland needs to showcase its best. The Chief Administrator also asked the state government departments and all the officiating officials and all the stakeholders to commit towards making the business summit a success. We will be updating you more with the details when we receive it from the government. Nagaland hosting the summit is no doubt a major development for our state and of course the Northeast region. The G20 or the Group of 20 is the premier intergovernmental forum for international economic cooperation. The forum plays a very important role in shaping and strengthening global architecture and governances on all major international economic issues. The G20 works primarily to address major issues related to, I think you know, this global economy. Yes, that's the first one among its objectives. And these objectives, besides finances, include issues of international financial stability, and of course there is climate change mitigation, of which the G20 has been spearheading, especially in the South Pacific and Asian region. And of course one of its goals is sustainable development. For those who are wondering, the G20 comprises Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China is there, the European Union is there, France is there, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, United Kingdom, and of course the United States. The objectives of the G20 are primarily just to policy coordination between its members in order to achieve economic stability and sustainable growth, and B, to promote financial regulations that reduce risks and to prevent future financial crises. There are also other objectives, but they are not necessarily primary, but they are part of the associated objectives of the first two. The objectives are to create a new international financial architecture, and India is currently the president of the G20. I think you know this. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, is the head of it. Therefore, it is leading the agenda. Because India is the president, it sets the agenda for a particular tenure on which the country in presidency is the president. So during the tenure, it is the country in presidency that sets the goals of the agenda and how to pursue it. So India is currently hosting the G20, and of course Nagaland is part of the cities where the G20 will be coming. India has set several goals and objectives for its G20 presidency, and this is not really the objectives of the G20 itself, but the agenda that is set by the president, that is India. India is the president of the G20 platform. The key focus areas include digital transformation, which was very expected because India is one of the countries in the world that is rapidly digitizing all its monetary transactions. And of course, you know, India is the country that I think was the first to demonetize many of the major denominations in India. So, and then another goal is climate financing, sustainable development goals is there, yes, and of course food security. So those are the agenda that India has set so far. Climate finance is one of India's agendas at the G20. We have all heard about a woman called Phulan Devi. And I think for those of us who grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s will remember this famous bandit queen called Phulan Devi, who became an MLA. That's India for you. And I think there might be a lot of women out there in India who might be getting some kind of a not so positive influence from this person. And Phulan Devi will always be remembered as one of India's most dreaded criminals to have ever walked, and of course one of the most dreaded MLAs to have walked. That was until her assassination. Maybe it was an inspiration from her that a gang of female robbers were arrested in Assam recently. A gang of robbers was nabbed by the Assam police in Hojai district of Assam, and they were not all men. Actually, all of them, almost 99% of them were women. The gang reportedly consisted of 12 women and a man, and they are reportedly, they are said to have been arrested because they reportedly robbed people of their jewelry and money at the ongoing 66 Forest Festival in Julanpur at Lamding. The Lamding police nabbed the thieves with the help of the local people there. That's what the reports from Assam told us. It was also informed that all the 13 accused persons were residents of not Assam but Odisha, the state that we used to know as Orissa earlier. The police suspect that more people are involved in this racket, and investigation has been launched to nab others involved in the crime. Reports from our correspondent in Assam said.
বনোৎসৱ অনুষ্ঠিত হৈছিল। বনোৎসৱত যথেষ্ট জনসমাগম হৈছিল, যথেষ্ট ভিৰ পৰিলক্ষিত হৈছিল, আৰু এনেকুৱা ভিৰৰ সুযোগ লৈ কিছুমান দুষ্ট চক্ৰই সাধাৰণতে দেখা যায় জনসাধাৰণৰ মানি পাৰ্স, চেইন ইত্যাদি চুৰি কৰে। ঠিক এনেকুৱা ঘটনা এটা সংঘটিত হৈছিল, আৰু এই সংক্ৰান্তে আমি ইতিমধ্যে এজাহাৰ লাভ কৰিছোঁ, এটা গোচৰ ৰুজু কৰিছোঁ, আৰু গুচৰীয়াসকলে দেখুৱাই দিয়া ধৰণে আমি এটা দলক আটক কৰিবলৈ সক্ষম হৈছোঁ। এই দলটোত প্ৰায় 12 গৰাকী মহিলা আৰু এজন পুৰুষ আছে। আটাইসকলোৱে মূলতঃ উৰিষ্যাৰ বাসিন্দা হয়, আৰু তেওঁলোকে এনেকুৱা মেলাৰ সুযোগ লৈ বিভিন্ন ঠাইত, অসমৰ বিভিন্ন ঠাইত মেলাৰ সুযোগ লৈ তেওঁলোকে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কাম কৰিবলৈ আহে। তেওঁলোকক এই সংক্ৰান্তে আমি এটা গোচৰ ৰুজু কৰিছোঁ, লামডিং থানা গোচৰ নং 79/2023। সকলোকে এই গোচৰ সংক্ৰান্তে এৰেষ্ট কৰা হৈছে আৰু তেওঁলোকক আদালতলৈ প্ৰেৰণ কৰা হ'ল। কথা হৈছে এই কথাটো থাকিবও পাৰে, কিন্তু আমি এতিয়ালৈকে তথ্য পাবলৈ সক্ষম হোৱা নাই, যিহেতু তেওঁলোকে এই সংক্ৰান্তে স্বীকাৰ কৰা।
The Dibrugarh police on Tuesday detained 7 students of Shelbrugh Academy in connection with Assam's HSLC paper leak case. Superintendent of Police Shiu Tank Mishra said that they brought the students from different parts of Assam and received a lot of evidences. Our viewers might remember that just about a week ago, there was a case of relatives and friends of the students writing examinations climbing up walls and sneaking in answer sheets or helping the students writing their examination. That's first. And just recently we had reports from Assam. I think one of our correspondents sent us a report of a teacher who was helping his child who was a student of a school right during the examination. So anyway, this is also similar to that. Police are investigating the matter.
इसमें कुछ हमें सूत्र मिले थे। सूत्रों के मुताबिक कुछ लड़कों को हमने पूछताछ के लिए अभी बुलाया है और उनसे कुछ हमें एविडेंस भी मिला है और उनकी लीड पे और भी कुछ लोगों के हमें नाम पता चले हैं जिनकी खोज में हमारी टीम बाहर निकली हुई है। चूँकि हमारा इन्वेस्टिगेशन अभी कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ, इसलिए इससे ज़्यादा हम अभी तथ्य आपको नहीं बता सकते।
सर, कितना लड़का है?
अभी तक यहाँ पर टोटल 7 लोग हैं। बाकी जैसे जैसे और हमें खबर मिलती जाएगी हमारा इन्वेस्टिगेशन आगे बढ़ता जाएगा।
सर, कहाँ का लड़के हैं?
ज़्यादातर एक ही यहाँ के स्कूल के लड़के हैं, सॉल्टब्रुक के। बाकी इनका जो घर है वो अलग अलग जगह का है, कुछ धेमाजी के हैं, कुछ तिनसुकिया के हैं, कुछ डिब्रूगढ़ के भी हैं। तो हमारा इन्वेस्टिगेशन इसी हिसाब से आगे चल रहा है।
A large demonstration was organized across Assam on Tuesday against the cancellation of the general science paper of the HSLC exam due to the question paper leak. Several organizations protested against the same issue yesterday in Guwahati, ladies and gentlemen. The AASU and the AJYCP of Guwahati Regional Unit activists burned an effigy of Assam's Education Minister Ranoj Beku and the SEBA chairman during the protest. Assam's Director General of Police G.P. Singh on Tuesday said that 22 people have been detained in connection to the paper leak case. I think it was related to the general science subject of the Class 10 board examination. The Board of Secondary Examination of Assam cancelled the Class 10 general science exam about 9 hours before it was about to have started from 9 a.m. on March 13. That was the report that we received here. In a tweet, the DGB said that in regard to the paper leak case of general science studies of the HSLC examination being conducted by the Board of Secondary Education, 22 persons have been detained from Guwahati, North Lakhimpur, Dhemaji, Satya, Dibrugarh and Tinsukia. This was on Monday. The Assam Criminal Investigation Department had also detained 3 people for their alleged involvement in the incident. The 3 people include teachers and a driver. That was what we were told. They were employees of the Bahuri Devi Saraki High School. The Secondary Education Board of Assam announced the cancellation of Monday's examination late on Sunday night after the paper leak came to light. The ghost of the Bhopal disaster continues to haunt India, ladies and gentlemen. A Supreme Court Constitution bench on Tuesday dismissed the Union government's petition demanding an additional compensation of more than 7,400 rupee crore from the American company Union Carbide for the victims of the 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy. For those who might not know, the Bhopal disaster or the Bhopal gas tragedy was a chemical accident on the night of December 2 and 3, 1984 at the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. The incident is considered to be the world's worst industrial disaster. Available records say more than 5 lakh people in the small towns around the factory were exposed to the highly toxic gas methyl isocyanate. In the early hours of December 3, 1984, The wind carried a poisonous gray cloud from the Union Carbide plant from the Union Carbide plant to areas around it. The poisonous gas release was about 40 tons. So 40 tons of the gas was released and spread throughout the city. There are various estimates regarding the death following the incident. The official number of immediate death is set at about 2,259. Those were the deaths that were caused immediately following the gas leak. The Britannica Encyclopedia puts the final death toll between 15,000 and 20,000. An estimated 500,000 survivors suffered respiratory problems, eye irritation or blindness, and other health issues resulting from exposure to the toxic gas. Just as recently as 2008, the government of Madhya Pradesh paid compensation to family members of about 3,787 victims who were killed in the gas leak and to about 5,74,366 victims who were injured. A government affidavit in 2006 stated that the leak caused about 5,58,125 injuries, including 38,478 temporary injuries and approximately 3,900 who suffered severe or permanently disabling injuries. Other estimates say that about 8,000 people died within 2 weeks of the gas leak, and another 8,000 or more deaths from gas-related diseases. Those are the available records. The owner of the factory, UCIL, the company, was majority owned by the Union Carbide Corporation of the United States, with Indian government-controlled banks and the Indian public holding at 49.1% stake. In 1989, the corporation reportedly paid about $470 million, which is equivalent to about $907 million in 2021. So this amount was to settle litigation stemming from the disaster. In 1994, the corporation sold its stake to Eveready Industry India Limited, which subsequently merged with McLeod Russell India Limited. Eveready ended cleanup on the site only in 1998. So following the incident, the rate of stillborn babies rose by almost 300%, while the rate of neonatal mortality rose to about 200%. It is believed that the Bhopal disaster also brought the issue of environment to the forefront in India. Several thousands of persons who were not at all associated with the factory in any way were also greatly affected because of the poisonous gases that leaked from the plant. It was not just the horrible impact on people and lives. More than an estimated 2,000 animals were killed by the gas that night itself. The heavy gas leak was absorbed into local rivers, which in turn rendered the water undrinkable while also poisoning the fish and aquatic creatures in the area. The Bhopal gas tragedy may also be considered a point of reference when creating regulatory mechanisms and safety standards for industries, particularly those dealing in chemicals. Those were the top news picks of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Right now we are still waiting for news beats in regard to who would be the speaker. Of course, that will be exciting. We can go into the background of the post of speaker and why it is important. That's also another. We are still waiting for more details in regard to the G20 summit that is supposed to be held in Kohima. So when and as those news information come, we will certainly be exploring this news bits together. We'll be going into the background of it. So keep watching Hornbill TV. I am Ngullie. See you next time.